Okay, ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen, I guess it's 6:30, and I'd like to call the Guilford Select Board meeting of August 23rd to order, and I will take the roll. Peter, our town administrator, is here, and Michael Becker.
Here.
And Rusty Marine.
Here.
Okay, this gives us a quorum, does it not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. Great. I'd like to recognize the public. I see that Jim Levinson has joined. Hello, Jim. I don't see anyone else. Then we'll go right on to the rules of procedure. The rules of procedure are on Peter's desk, and the rules of procedure govern how the public interacts with the select board, and the select board interacts with the public, and the basic premise of that is civility and to raise your hand to be called upon. Are there any changes to the agenda order?
Yes, we have one, and that is we will need to postpone the updated capital expenditures till the next meeting due to a personal situation last week. Just letting in the other select board members.
Here's John.
Yep, and Veranda.
Okay.
I wasn't able to get that task finished. However, I will have that documentation ready for the select board members and the FIC members by no later than Wednesday of this week. So you can have a couple weeks to review it prior to the next meeting and ask any questions beforehand for clarification before that meeting.
Thank you, Peter. And I know you'll do a good job with that. All right, next on our agenda is the minutes of the last meeting. I'm assuming that the select board has read them. Zon, your video is not on. Do you want it that way?
I'm trying to see what's going on.
Oh, there you are. Oh, what a good looking face that is. And I see Veranda too. So now we have
difficulty. We had difficulty signing on today. That's why we were late.
Yes, and I want you to point that out, Peter. The initial Zoom that you gave was not really the latter one that you gave when I asked you to send it out was right, because the first one that you sent just was the address of Zoom, and it wasn't the meeting itself.
Well, yeah, for the agenda for people who see it posted at the various locations around town, you can just go to zoom.us and then you can join a meeting and you can type in the meeting code and the password.
Right, but the select board would prefer it, and I specifically would prefer to have just the meeting identification, so that the select board doesn't have to put in the ID number and all of that.
I'll make sure to do that next time.
Thank you, Peter. So we're on to the minutes. Welcome, Veranda and Zon. And do I have a motion to approve the minutes of last meeting?
I see one issue in the minutes.
Okay, what is that, Michael?
Just someone's name is not filled in. It just says XXX.
No.
Move to approve.
I didn't see that when I read them myself. But
what I had on, what I had on my copy was that the people who moved and seconded, the names weren't written in. There were just X's. Maybe that was corrected later.
I'm not sure what copy you're looking at. That might be the one in the other folder.
It was just the minutes that were in our folder that I just re-looked at.
You're looking at wait. So Michael is looking at the minutes that I am writing right now. He is not looking at the minutes from the previous meeting.
No, I was looking at the minutes I believe I was looking at the minutes from the previous meeting. I can double check that.
I don't remember. I don't recall when I edited it that there were X's there.
There are not.
Oh, good.
So there must be two versions of the minutes. There's always the template.
No, I don't mean that.
This is today.
Yeah.
You're looking at tonight's meeting.
I was looking
I'm talking to Michael right now, based on what he has of. These are the minutes I'm editing right now.
Okay.
So this is the agenda item that we're on right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's why there's an X, is because I haven't filled it in yet because someone hasn't made a motion.
Right, but Miranda is saying that there were X's in the meeting minutes that we are attempting to approve right now.
Yep, and I have those up right in front of me, and even before you edited them, Richard, there were no X's, there were no blanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike can see it next to me.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure why we have two different versions, but.
Because that's the one that I'm working on right now.
Okay.
So when I go to change, so once someone makes a motion, I will edit that and you'll see it show up.
Okay, well.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting? Zahn, thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Rusty. Is there any discussion? All right, I'll take the roll then. Rusty?
Aye.
Okay.
Zahn?
Aye.
Michael?
Hi.
Richard? Aye. Okay, the minutes are approved.
Veranda,
Veranda, I'm sorry, Veranda, yes. And did you say aye, Veranda?
I did.
Okay, thank you very much. The minutes are approved. Thank you. Danny, I saw come in, Mr. Zambrowski. The highway report? Anything to report?
It's raining now.
It's raining out, yes.
Yes, it is raining. We've working on our project over on Hale Road still. We've been grading, cleaning culverts, mowing roadsides. The mower broke down this morning, so that's going to be down for at least a week. Other than that, we've just been doing our normal.
So we're lucky that we have no flooding issues, I gather.
I'm not going to knock on wood. So far, so good. So.
Good, okay, great. Thank you very much, Dan. That's the highway report. I want to ask a question. How is that project going of rebuilding the?
Well, if it would stop raining, it would be coming along well on it.
Okay.
We had a good 4 days of cutting trees over there. And then last Thursday, we rip-wrapped the bank. It went very quick. So now we're just trying to finish up widening the road out and getting some stone line ditching in over there.
Great.
If we have rest of this week, decent weather, it hopefully be done by the end of the week.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. Any questions for Dan and his report?
Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you very much, Dan. On to new business, Charter of Compassion. Peter, would you like to tell us about that?
Well, I think that actually Jim Levinson and Lisa Sparrow are here to speak about that. I
Okay,
think
hi,
they
Jim and
did
Lisa.
that.
Welcome to the meeting. And if you could be brief and succinct, we would appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, let me just say first that Lisa, you know well, a long time Guilford connection, but in addition, she is the ambassador, the Brattleboro ambassador to two of our sister communities, one in Kenya, one a Native American community in South Dakota. Let me say that I have no doubt that lots that's compassionate goes on in Guilford, lots that's initiated by the select board. This is an opportunity to provide a kind of base for the operations, opportunity for lots of linkages. This might end up being a page on your town website. You might have a booklet, something like what we put together in Brattleboro. Very nice, got enormous circulation, so much so that people in a few other countries said, how do we join this Charter for Compassion? Basically, the way it works is the select board approves it. And then the real work is done by folks in town. I'm sure there will be no problem, as was the case in Brattleboro, to have a group of people step up that, in fact, will do the work. The role of the select board then is we report to the select board once a year. They always have suggestions. We follow up on every single one of them. Additionally, when there's a major decision to be made, the select board gets involved to the extent that they need to be. Example, there's going to be in front of the river garden a sister community signboard. Our group of, we call it Compassionate Brattleboro, the lay people, are we've done all the work, getting designs together, getting quotes from companies and so forth. Periodically, we send the design to Peter Elwell, and he and his team look it over, and they always have suggestions. They make them. We act accordingly. We're now about to provide a final. Peter and his group will make some their final adjustments, present it to the select board. Select board hopefully will approve it. The sign goes up. I think you've probably all seen the letter that Peter Elwell wrote to the surrounding towns, where he says, I'm aware that Compassion at Brattleboro is considering encouraging other communities to pledge adherence to the principles of the International Charter for Compassion, and to support individuals and organizations in those communities who wish to collaborate in a manner similar to what you and your team have established with Compassion at Brattleboro. Based on our experience here, I'm happy to voice my support for that effort. Please feel free to let other municipal officials know. I'll be happy to speak with them in more detail about our experience here in Brattleboro, if that will be helpful. And if you're interested, Lisa and I can talk to you about some of the specific activities that we have undertaken. It's been very lively.
I have a question. Is there a charter that you're wanting the select board to sign on to for Guilford, or do you want the voters to sign of Guilford to sign on to? Because I haven't seen the charter myself. Right.
Well, to see the charter, all you have to do is go on the web to Charter for Compassion.
Okay.
You'll get on there right away. You'll read the charter. You'll see the 150 or so cities and towns that have joined. You'll see the countries that have joined. You'll see a whole lot from Helen Armstrong, who founded it, and the Dalai Lama, who supported it from the outset. Basically, what Brattleboro did is to get it on the agenda for a vote. We collected so many hundred signatures. We got it on the ballot. It was overwhelmingly approved, and the select board signed off on it, and we were in.
Zahn, did you have a question?
No, he just answered it. Thank you.
Okay. So, and are there any other questions or comments? So, my next question is, does anybody have other select board members have? Yes, Zahn.
So I see Michael's arm too, but Jim. So as I understand it, if you're saying it, what I understand you saying is that the town of Guilford needs to vote on this, not the select board. So we would bring it to a town meeting, and they would approve it, and then we would sign on.
I think the way you do it is completely up to you.
Oh, I see. So we can sign on behalf.
If you want to decide on behalf of the town and go ahead and announce it, I'm sure that's there are towns that do it that way. Completely your call.
Michael, you had a question?
Yeah, I would be interested to just hear some of the activities you're involved in.
Sure. Why don't we start with Lisa talking about some of what's happening with the sister communities?
I can do that, but what I'd rather do is talk about Guilford. Could I do that instead? So,
yes, please.
So I think people are familiar with the fact that the Interfaith Youth Group used to take trips to Kenya and to South Dakota. And so those relationships were made more formal through the Charter for Compassion. And it's a nice thing for both communities. But one of the reasons why I was interested in this for Guilford is because it's such a diverse community. So of course there's the church community, but then there's also the Grange, which has the food pantry, or I don't know if it's there at the moment, but in essence it has that. And I don't know, Guilford is I guess I'm thinking of Guilford Cares. There are just a lot of these caring organizations. And one of the things that I think the Charter for Compassion could serve for Guilford is that if people are moving to Guilford, it gives people a way of identifying Guilford as a community that particularly aspires to be a caring community. And remember back when we did the community visit, which now is however many years ago. Part of that was trying to kind of define Guilford as a place that had some cohesion, despite the fact that there's a lot of political difference and not everybody goes to church. There's a Jewish community there, a lot of people with a lot of different views. But this would be a way to sort of pull it together for people who wanted to just even on the website, for example, if the town, you already have a really good website for Guilford, I think. But if you had a page and it listed some of these organizations, I just think it gives definition to what Guilford already is. It would be a way of claiming the compassion that's already there and having people be able to find some of the ways to get involved. So that would be my vision for why you might consider it. Is just, I think it would give a little cachet to what you already are. It's a well-known thing, and I don't know. It just seems like it would be exciting for the town to be part of it.
Thank you, Lisa. Miranda, did you have a comment or question?
Oh, I was wondering, thank you very much for bringing this to our attention. I'm sorry that I'm not more familiar with it. I think when I first heard of it, I gave the document a quick reading, but I haven't thought of it in my sort of official, capacity of presenting this to Guilford. And I think what people would be very interested in is these sister nations, communities, towns. How are these relationships built? I know about the church and about your work in Kenya and in South Dakota, but in general, how do towns link up with parallel communities?
Let me say a few words about that. We have a process by which there's an application procedure, but usually there is an existing connection, that someone in town has a connection or an organization in town has a connection, as is the case with the Guilford Church and Kenya and South Dakota. Activities then spring up. So there is, for example, in Kenya, there's talk about getting some of our students over there to join their students to go on what they call green safaris, going to see animals and planting trees at the same time. There is, with our community in India, which was until very recently a leper colony and is still getting over problems associated with that, we are helping them with a sewing initiative. People in town are kicking in and helping with that. In the case of Haiti, we've raised some money to help a desperately poor family in need. And we have another sister community in New Mexico where there's going to be classroom exchanges with the Oak Grove School here. So those are very rich and lively sister community relationships. Mm-hmm. We also have something called compassion in common. And when we last reported to the select board in Brattleboro, this is what they showed greatest interest in. So imagine this, if you will, a dozen people sitting around a table with the facilitator, people aged 19 to 80, discussing everything from guns and abortion to immigration. And half of the people in the room are reds and half of them are blues. And it goes so well, and there is so much active listening that everybody wants to keep doing it. We've done a number of those. We call it compassion in common. We also have in the Reformer and the Commons, you've probably seen compassion stories of the month. We're up to month 50. And we have had, until COVID, community conversations on compassion. Compassion in the police, compassion in education, compassion in health. And we have those in the library. and they are televised by BCTV and then made readily available to anyone that's interested.
Thanks, Jim.
I want to just throw in one little thing about the compassion stories. One of the things I thought would be so easy would be if every time there's a Guilford Gazette, if there would be a story like that, just to kind of infuse a little bit of what neighbors do for each other in Guilford. So just as a specific example. Yeah.
Any other, I would like to make a suggestion. I think that this is something that the town should adopt and not the select board. I'd like to know whether my colleagues agree with my premise here, that this is a town issue rather than a select board issue. And it would be much more potent if the town embraced the Charter for Compassion. And so I would suggest that if my colleagues agree with me, that we, with the town administrator and you two or Jim or Lisa, create a plan for how to get a motion in front of the town meeting, which will be in March. And perhaps one of you could represent the Charter for Compassion, and that would, and see what we get with the town vote there. Does that make sense?
I agree with that.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Rusty.
That's okay. I just said I agree with what Richard just said.
I think that the select board could, personally, I feel as if the select board could, let me feel, is just speak personally, I feel comfortable if we were to have a vote on it, that I would be comfortable to vote on it, because I don't believe that we're committing the town to do anything that people are not willing to do. I mean, we have a kernel of an active group in Guilford that's already doing work that I consider really valuable. And that's just how I feel strongly. I think, going out to the town and letting them consider it however many months from now March is, I think I would be missing valuable time in promoting these partnerships.
Do I have, so what we're talking about now is whether we think that the select, and I don't agree with that. So we have we have a disagreement here, and I want to hear from the other board members whether, yes, Don.
Thank you. I hear you, Veranda, and I'm a big follower of Karen Armstrong. I've really appreciated her work over many years. So all that said, I feel like I would also be comfortable voting here right now, but I think actually that it would be just that much stronger to adopt something, an actual statement by the town, if the town were to adopt it. I just feel like it would have that much more weight and would feel much more centrally policy driven, then we could get behind it even stronger.
And thank you, Zahn. Michael?
I agree with what Zahn just said. So, I personally am in favor of adopting this, but I guess it would send a stronger message if we really had, a majority of the town.
Right. So, and that is the way that Brattleboro did it, I gather, which is that the town voted for it and the select board approved it.
Right.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes, Veranda.
Well, Lisa had something to say, so why don't
well, you're on, right? Yeah, I've taken your comment or question. Veranda?
Well, I'm just curious about whether the Brattleboro Select Board gave a strong recommendation to the town that they were behind this. And, I just feel for myself that there are times when we need to lead.
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
Lisa?
I guess I would like to just suggest that you might prime the pump a little. I mean, I've been to plenty of Guilford town meetings and there's a lot that goes on. And I could easily see that it could come and go pretty quickly without people really paying too much attention. So I'm wondering about having an article in the Gazette or somewhere. Or maybe there's some other format that everybody in Guilford gets something. But I'm wondering if there was an article about it so that people at least had a sense of it. I mean, sometimes I've seen things get very well and thoroughly discussed, and that's wonderful. But I've also been part of things where we wait all year for the town meeting, and then there's so much on the agenda that it barely gets touched. So that's more me just from experience. So I guess I would propose some way of giving people a little bit of forewarning.
Yes, I think that we could create a plan in which we make it clear that the select board, it seems to me, is in favor of this, and that the select board would like and recommends that the town accept the charter, sign on to the charter. So I think that's what's in my mind, that we could, and that a Gazette article explaining what the Charter for Compassion is would be very helpful. And another reason that I would be hesitant to vote for this now is that I don't really understand quite what this is well enough to vote on it personally. So, and I think need more information and more research. But I do feel as if that once I've got more familiar with it, I would be very strongly in favor of recommending it to the town, and for the town to vote positively about it. Peter?
I was just going to say on a technical side note, should it go before the town at town meeting date, that any decision that the town residents make is a non-binding action, and it would take further action by the select board. That would simply be in simple terms, a show of guidance for the select board, the direction that residents would want you to take.
It may be helpful, and all of this is on. If you go to the Brattleboro Town website, and there's a link to Charter for Compassion, entire page of links to all of this. But the resolution for Compassion in Brattleboro that was signed by the Select Board has a bunch of whereases. And one of them is, whereas on March 7, 2017, Brattleboro voters overwhelmingly approved, 83% in favor, the following town meeting article. Shall the town of Brattleboro vote to advise the Select Board to become a compassionate city as articulated in the Charter for Compassion? Now, therefore, the Select Board resolves and proclaims.
That's great. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Something like that we could put it as an article in the town warning. So, yes, Miranda? Miranda?
So I think, having an article in the Gazette, and I guess we will have to have residents sign to put this on the warning. I mean,
this could be an article that the select board decides to put on the warning.
Okay, and so then we should also have an article about it in the town report as well as the Gazette.
Should we vote tonight? Should we vote tonight on whether we want to put this forward as an article at the town meeting next? I'm looking for some agreement or disagreement there. Michael, yes. Rusty, yes.
No, I would like to know more before I make any kind of decision. I mean, we've only been talking about this for 15 minutes. I'm like you, I still really don't know what this is all about, and I'd like to read more about it.
Okay. Yeah. Zon, did you want to say something?
I hear what Rusty's saying. I think I would vote yes tonight because I know about it, but I think it would be fine to vote next time as well.
Okay. So why don't we put it on the agenda for next time? And thank you very much, Jim and Lisa, for describing to us what it is and offering our town this great opportunity to become part of this. I think to me, the future looks bright for it.
And we're glad
be a
to help
great
out
thing.
any way we can between now and then.
I think we would come to you for some help, but that article that you read out of the Brattleboro Select Board sounds like something that we would want to do, I think.
So
Great.
could you give folks our contact information? So in case they have especially those of you who are not familiar, if you decide you want to talk to one of us, to please feel free to do that.
And is there anyone
Jim
on the
really knows more about it, but you can see I'm pretty into it myself.
Yeah. Is there while we're here, is there anyone of the select board members who would like to write an article for the Gazette, or shall I look for someone to talk to Jim and Lisa, interview them and then write the article? There's one coming out in November. Miranda, you want to do it? Okay, there you go. Very good. Thank you, Veranda. Thank you again, Jim and Lisa, and we will continue with our meeting. Bye.
And thanks for
Bye-bye.
everything you've already done in those sister communities.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, on to updates. The commission reports to the select board.
Whoops.
Yep.
Mask wearing in the town buildings, Richard.
Thought about masks. Are
Oh,
we
I'm
gonna
sorry.
talk-
Yes, I'm sorry. I can't read my own writing. Mask wearing in town buildings. It's come to our attention that we may want to reconsider instituting mask wearing in town buildings, given the Delta problem that we're having. And we wanted to know what you thought the select board felt about that or thought about that. Do we want to make a request that the public entering town buildings and the employees in those town buildings wear masks? We can do that. We did it once before. What is your pleasure?
Richard, I can state that all of the neighboring communities around us have all made this now a requirement in their town buildings. And as I shared with you personally last week, Richard, that 2 weeks ago, the CDC changed the status of Windham County to be a county of high transmission.
Right.
We had been a county of moderate transition. And so, which means that there are an increasing number of cases of COVID spreading in Windham County again.
Thank you, Peter. Rusty?
Well, my question was answered. I was wondering what the CDC reason was.
So shall we take, yes, Zon?
I'd just say that my initial instinct would be to wait till see what the governor says about all of this. But hearing what Peter suggests, that all of the towns around have adopted this measure, it seems like it would be smart for us to consider it as well.
Okay. Do I have a motion then?
I have a question.
Let's get the motions on the floor first. How about
Yeah. Do I have a motion? Okay. Zon, okay. Zon, you motion. Do I have a second? Veranda, thank you. And the motion is that we will institute a mask wearing policy in town offices, both by the public and the town employees. Yes? All right. Is there any?
I have
Yes, Veranda.
Discussion.
Yes.
Are we including the library and the historical museum?
Yes.
I mean, so those are town offices, or maybe
Yes.
we should just town buildings.
Town buildings and the garage then as well, correct?
It's a town building.
Yep. So are we good with that motion?
I know Zon made the motion. Did someone second that, Richard?
Yes, Veranda did.
Thank you, Brenda.
Are we ready to vote then? Any further discussion?
You have a question?
Nope.
Yeah.
Michael?
We're voting on aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Zon?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. That motion carries. So we will have to put up signage and put it on the website that we have passed that motion.
I will do so, Richard.
Thank you. Very good. Now on to commission reports to the select board. This is about scheduling more regularly the commissions reporting to the select board on their activities. And I know that Veranda and Zahn were involved in this. Does one of you want to report back to us where we are on this? Okay, Veranda, please.
Okay, so my where I am now is that Zahn and I discussed the different commissions having different number of times to report to the select board. One for the cemetery once a year for the cemetery commission, twice a year for the recreation commission and the conservation commission, and 4 times a year for the planning commission. And this schedule can be developed based on the busy time of year for the select board, and we can, Peter and I, or Peter and you, Richard, and I can come up with a draft based on that, on our busy season, and offer these commission slots to do that.
Okay, so the motion the motion would basically be that there should be, as you said,
regular reports back
right,
from
and
the commission to the select board, and therefore to the town.
right, and right with it. So the motion would read with the schedule to be developed, right? There should be regular reports with a schedule to be developed. Does anybody want to add to that motion, or is that a good motion for the select board? Does someone want to make that motion? Zahn?
I'll second. I see. Okay. I thought Veranda was making it. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think she is.
No, I did. I was reporting on the progress of our conversation about it, and so somebody else can make the motion, and I'll be happy to second it.
Zahn has made the motion. Do I have Veranda has seconded? Is there further discussion?
Could somebody,
Yes, Zahn?
could somebody,
Whose phone that is?
No, that's my phone, but I'll shut it off. It's
Don't you hate that?
yeah.
Sorry.
No, the
Yeah,
reason
sorry.
I was letting it ring is I know who it is, and it's a very important call, but it's not more important than the select board.
Well, hang in there, Rich.
could somebody please state the motion for me? I wasn't quite sure what it was going to be.
Well,
I can.
okay, Zahn, thank you.
There will be regular meetings with the select board and the commissions in town. And the number of meetings per year for the commissions will be cemetery commission, 1 meeting per year, recreation and conservation 2 times per year, and planning commission 4 times per year.
Thank you.
Then I have a comment.
Yes, please.
Could we make arrangements, Peter, for I'd like to push that the planning commission be at the next select board meeting to start this ball. No, we don't have to have the whole schedule set up, but I think if we start with the planning commission, because they're right in the middle of what they're doing, and I think we need to see about having them come as soon as possible.
So, but that doesn't have to be in the motion. That can just be a request of the select board to the commission, right? Okay. So does everyone understand the motion? And it's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Very good. Michael?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
Zahn?
Aye.
Richard? Aye. So that motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
So,
No.
before we move on, I just wanted to say briefly, so for this agenda item, I have the specific motion, and I have an action item to request the planning commission to show up at the next meeting.
Great.
And just as a corollary to this that we don't need to discuss, Zana and I have also been discussing having other town entities come and make once-a-year reports to the select board and the town, and that we'll discuss later.
Okay, thank you, Veranda. Very good, excellent. And now on to the warrants.
Okay, so I just have to get
Thanks, Ken.
to,
Thank you.
You know,
I see.
the,
I'm sorry.
Yes, Son?
I see updated capital expenses on
Oh,
the,
you weren't here at the beginning of the meeting when
Oh.
Peter told us that he hadn't completed that yet, and so.
oh, I see. That's what I came in for. Okay,
And-
sorry.
Yeah,
Very
and,
sorry.
and also, let me just add to that, Zon, that he will have that done no later than Wednesday so that the select board can review it before the next meeting.
Okay,
It's very important.
yes.
okay. So are we ready for the warrants?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I move that we pay the following warrants: payroll week 8/15/21 for the sum of $6,892.29. Payroll week 8/22/21 for the sum of $6,577.06. Expense warrant number 2204 for the sum of $18,241.52 for a total of $31,710.87.
Thank you, Veranda. Do I have a second? Zon, are you seconding? Thank you. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, the largest expenses were insurance and gravel. That says it all.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, any other comments, questions? Very good. I'll take the roll on that motion then. Michael?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
Zon?
Aye.
Richard says aye. Thank you very much. Are there any other business to come before this august body?
Don't we have correspondence?
Well, first it's other business.
Oh,
Okay, if there being no other business, then we'll go on to communications, Peter.
Yes, so I have two communications with the select board. The first one is that Wendy Stone and Eric Jones have tendered their resignation from the Recreation Commission. I have already expressed and conveyed the select board's great appreciation to the extensive work they have done over the past 5 years on that. Obviously, you are welcome to share your appreciation to them individually, but I did notify them of that. The big thing with that, and Richard has asked me to put it on the agenda for the next meeting, is that we need to put some effort forth to start recruiting some new commissioners, because the Recreation Commission is down 4 members. I believe the Planning Commission is down 1 member. And Zon, yep.
And we'll be going down probably 6 members, about 5 to 7 members before the next town meeting.
On the planning commission, is that what you're saying? Okay, so that's going to be on the agenda for next time, recruiting commission members. Veranda, did you have a comment or a question?
oh, I just wanted to add that sadly, the Cemetery Commission will be needing a new member as well.
Okay,
So there's a lot of recruitment that needs to be done.
yes.
The last brief communication is Richard and I were notified today that, as Richard shared at a previous meeting, the Guilford Free Library renovation project had been set aside as an alternate to be considered for the downtown tax credit. We were notified this morning that we were selected as a finalist, and we were awarded $30,102 for our project.
Yay! So that's good.
Good news.
Because that tax credit award helps with fundraising. It strengthens our cause and our prospectus that we have that commitment from the state.
Excellent.
Very good.
That's all I
Okay.
have for communication.
Any comments or questions about that? Are those the communications, Peter?
That's all, yep. Would you like to
Okay.
summary from the last meeting? So the summary from the last meeting is you approved a roofer for the Historical Society, of which I'm still searching because very few roofers do slate any longer. So I'm still working on that. I've gotten some help from the road crew on suggestions. You dismissed a dog complaint. I'm supposed to do the updates on the expenditures versus budgeted for the capital plan. Miranda and Zahn were to do some work on the schedule for commission reports to the select board. Zahn was to contact the planning commission on the status of the town plan and have them provide an update at an upcoming select board meeting. Miranda and I were to work on the process for inviting community organizations to share annual work with the select board. And I was to work with Richard and Zahn on the information relating to ARPA. All of those things in progress.
Right. Let me ask a question about that. So when we extend the invitation to the planning commission, we want to say that we would like a status report on the town plan. Is that correct? Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yes, and that's what Michelle is expecting to do.
Okay.
That she would like to come meet as well. It's not just us requesting. She's ready to come, I think.
Okay. But we want the invitation to say that we want an update on the status of the town plan. I thought I shut my phone up. I'm sorry.
As far as actions from this meeting, you have now required masks in all town buildings. You've set a schedule for annual commission reports. There are 2 items for actions to be taken. The conversation on the Charter for Compassion is to be added to the next meeting agenda. And I am to request the planning commission to come to the next meeting to give a report on the status of the town plan.
Sounds like the whole deal. Yes, Miranda.
Well, and I will interview Lisa and write an article for the next Guilford Gazette
Right.
on
Thank you.
the compassionate community.
Right. Excellent. Well, all of that being accomplished, yes, Don,
May I make a motion to adjourn?
you certainly may. And do I have a second for that motion? Michael, thank you. The motion is seconded. Is there any discussion? I'll take the roll then. Rusty,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Miranda,
Aye.
Zahn,
Aye.
Richard, aye. The motion is carried. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next time. Have a good week, everybody.
But there's 3 weeks until the next meeting.
Oh, 3 weeks to the next meeting. That's right, because of the Monday following. Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Good night.